Hi everyone, happy Valentine to you and your family. I hope you had a really good day with your partners, loved ones, children, workmates, anybody else that you love. I think it's a great day for us to remember the value of love. And for me, there can be no greater connection in a country, in a community, in a family than love. And so I have a lot of, I like this day a lot. But I had to come on today because I saw in the Demerara Waves online news an article that was quite shocking. I saw Aubrey Norton having the temerity to speak of the Because We Care cash grant, and I was really quite surprised because the PNC, APNUAFC, they have such a shameful past on this grant that I wouldn't think that he'd want to venture onto any topic relating to the cash grant. So let me tell you about this story. In 2014, without a drop of oil, the PPPC began the Because We Care cash grant, and we said at the time that we would raise it until it reached at least $50,000, and we began with $10,000. At the time, the APNUAFC said that it was one, an election gimmick, and two, that when they came into office, they would raise it, they would give it to private schools, and that they would give more than that. Fast forward to 2015, when the APNUAFC comes into office, and what did they do? They abolished the grant. Now, let's not use fancy words. They took away the cash grant from you and your children, and they said instead they would replace it with the 5B program. Buses and boats and boots and bicycles and breakfast. Let's talk about that. You know the story better than me. How many of your children went to school in APNU buses? You know that story, but I'll tell you the numbers. For 5 years, the APNU gave 34 buses to children of this country, to 205,000 children of this country. In 5 years, the PPPC has given more than 58 buses to the children of this country. In 5 years, the APNUAFC gave 29 boats, to the children of this country as transportation on this 5B program. The PPPC has given more than 94 boats across this country. The APNUAFC did not give a single child breakfast on the Essequibo coast, on the East Bank, Region 10, Regions 1, 7, 8, 9. 3 schools in Region 6 received breakfast, some on the East Coast, some in Georgetown, and some in Region 3. So, in other words, they abolished and took away the Because We Care cash grant to say they would give you breakfast and buses and boats and boots, and you didn't get any of that, plus you didn't get the cash grant. In 2020, when the PPPC returned to office, consistent with our promise, or honoring our promise, we restored the Because We Care cash grant immediately, and it has increased every single year since then. And so this year, I'm happy to tell you that your children are going to get $55,000 each child, not each home, $50,000 on the Because We Care cash grant, and $5,000 for your uniform grant. Now, we are giving you the Because We Care cash grant. We're giving you breakfast. So let me tell you about breakfast. Every single child on the coast gets breakfast from grades 3 to 6. In the hinterland, every single child gets breakfast and a hot meal in primary school. All our nursery children and grades 1 and 2 children get juice and biscuit. And all our secondary schools that are dormitories are getting a hot meal, whether the children are resident or non-resident. So we're giving breakfast, we're giving boats, we're giving lunch, we're giving buses, we're giving textbooks, we're giving you schools, we're giving you trained teachers, we're giving you all of that. And we have restored the Because We Care cash grant. Now, Aubrey Norton said some very, very offensive things on the Demerara Waves. He's quoted in Demerara Waves as saying, he said that if the PNC were to come back into power with his leadership, they would attach conditions to the grant. So I want you to hear that. If they were to come back into office, they would have conditions before you receive the grant. Now, what's the criteria for your children currently to receive this grant? It is that they're on the register attending school, and that their names are submitted. We do not ask parents. So how do we give it? The teacher submits the register. The head teacher verifies that these are children in the class and they are on the register. The education officer of the region verifies that register, and then central ministry looks at that. So it's 4 stages of verification that have already, for this year, it has already begun in public and private schools. And so the children are in school. We don't ask how your parents voted. We don't ask how they pray. We don't ask what color they are. We don't ask if they're single parents. We don't ask if they're mothers or fathers. Once the children are on the register, they receive the grant. Now, the APNUAFC is telling you very clearly that they will attach conditions to this grant. If you don't come to school, if you're sick, they're not giving you the grant. They have no sympathy. They're also saying, and so Aubrey Norton also said some very, very offensive things that I want to address. He said, people, or he's quoted as saying, people are using the grant to fix their hair and nails. And he's really speaking to the women of this country. So let's be frank about that, because men rarely fix their hair and nails. And I am saying that that is most offensive and it is inaccurate. And it's an insult to the women of this country and the mothers of this country, many of who are single parents who struggle and look after their children and make sacrifices every single day to make sure their children are thriving and doing well. So anybody who comes here to suggest that women do not know how to manage money or how to use money for the benefit of their children, such as Aubrey Norton or the PNCR or the APNU or the AFC or whatever they're calling themselves now, you don't know the women of this country. So let me tell you about the women of this country. The mothers and women of Guyana are people who every day consciously make decisions that will make sure their children are put in a place that could give them a life of plenty, that would not have them struggle, that would make the children better than the parents. That's what women want. That's what the women of this country want. For their children to be better than they are, so that they could thrive in this bountiful Guyana with all these new opportunities. And that is why we have a higher retention rate in school. We're seeing more kids in school. We're seeing more children doing post-secondary education, such as 30,000 on the Gold Scholarship Program, such as in our TVET centers, such as in our various training programs on BIT and WIN in different ministries. And so, Aubrey Norton, you don't know the women of this country. So to suggest that women will use money and mismanage money and not look after their children with the money means you have no regard for the sacrifices people have made. Let me tell you about the women I know. The women I know have spent this money to improve their homes in different ways so that their children can benefit. They have spent this money on devices. They have banked this money, although it's money that they can use on other things immediately. They have put aside this money to do medical procedures and different things that they believe would benefit their children. See, you are not in a place to tell women how to spend their money. You're not in their homes every day. You are not helping them, have never helped them when you were in government or otherwise to look after their children. So you have no moral or ethical standing. I want the mothers of this country to know this about us. We trust you. We trust you to look after your children. We trust you to spend this money wisely on your children. With us, you will always have this grant. We've promised that and you have seen us delivering it. We know you. We see the sacrifices you make every day. In us, you have a friend in your parenting. We know what you want for your children, and that's why you see us presenting different opportunities for you to get that for your children. So I want you to know that with us, you will always have this. To Aubrey Norton, the PNCR, the APNU, the AFC, you have to apologize to the women of this country for that very, very inaccurate, fallacious statement that does not represent the reality on the ground. To the parents and mothers, know that we love you. Know that we will always support you in our various programs, and understand that in us, you can trust us to deliver what we have promised. I love you and happy Valentine.